everyone. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Cannabis Tech Talks, your weekly source for news and insights at the intersection of cannabis and technology. Shout out to our title sponsor, Polyscience, for supporting this podcast. I'm Patricia Miller, Executive Editor with Cannabis and Tech Today. Joining me for this episode is Miles Doughty, co-founder of the reggae rock fusion ensemble Slightly Stoopid. Over the past 2 decades, Slightly Stoopid's sound has evolved, but its message has consistently called for cannabis reform. In 2017, the band created a 12-inch vinyl record made entirely of hashish to raise awareness for cannabis legalization. The band launched its cannabis brand Stoopid Organics in 2021. This interview was recorded in 2022, just before Slightly Stoopid kicked off its first tour since the pandemic. Let's dive in. Yeah, so you're starting July 7th, right? It's the first kickoff of the tour?
Yeah. We start in Bonner, Montana, which is right outside of Missoula. Great place, first of all. Like it's called the Kettle House Amphitheater. And the amphitheater right behind the stage, the river's literally running through full speed right behind it. You can literally walk off the back of the stage and just jump in the river. It's really cool.
Out. Oh my gosh, I love Montana, man. I want to move.
It's special. It's a special place, especially at night. When you go out into the country, not a lot of lights, so you can literally just feels like you're plucking stars out of the sky. So it's a pretty cool place.
How cool. Oh, I love that. It's a great start then.
Yeah.
So you've been on hiatus for 2 years, right? Because of the pandemic.
Yeah, pretty much. They shut down all the shows, the kind of shows that we do were all shut down. Obviously, we weren't the only ones affected. Everyone's affected by that. But it's just crazy when you've been on the road more than half your life, and then all of a sudden, you're not on the road for 2 full years. Something that hasn't happened since I was like a teenager. So
wow,
it was
definitely
a mental adjustment, even physical, just because you're used to being gone, 6-7 months a year, and then just being home and kind of it was. The one nice part about it is we all have families and things, so there was time to reflect and really just kind of enjoy being a dad and enjoy your own town that you never see.
Yeah. So I hadn't really thought about what a change that would be, but I mean, you guys formed in 1995. You've been touring that whole time. What a trip it must have been for 2 years just still.
Yeah. It definitely took a second to adjust. In the beginning, like everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we got a little 2-3 week vacation." And next thing you know, you're like, "Oh wait, you're actually canceling the summer tour." So yeah, it was pretty crazy. But what's good is, you've just seen the perseverance of so many people that really were affected in a negative way, as far as losing everything, losing their jobs, losing their mental, and I think music is such a healer for everybody. Doesn't matter who you are. Music, not just our music, everybody's music. It's like a healer to the mind, and I think it was important, like doing those kind of Zoom meetings during Zoom kind of concerts during the pandemic, where you were able to give people something, and it really was insane, because you realized how much it does matter, just music in general. As a musician, as a fan of it, it really like heals the soul when things are bad. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, beautifully said. I'm sure that meant a lot to people, being able to connect still with the band even virtually. It's cool that you were able to pivot like that.
Yeah, and each time I did it, I tried to keep it exactly like I would be talking to people at the show, and just keep it light and fun. And I made like a little cocktail bar next to me with my guitars, and just tried to make it an experience for them, and play like almost 90 minutes of music each time, and just kind of put a smile on people's faces when everyone's dealing with the same shit.
Right. Well, what are you most excited about as far as returning to the road?
I mean, I think just the camaraderie with all my boys. This summer tour package, we're friends with all the bands, and it's really a fun package, from Fortunate Youth to Common Kings, Pepper. Even at the end, the Elevators are going to get on some shows, and it's just like a really fun summertime package. And we're going to kind of make a point to really enjoy it like we used to back in the day, like the barbecues after the shows, everyone going to the rivers if there's rivers, the beach, the mountains. Like, we really want to kind of embrace it more. I think, not that taking it for granted, but when you've been to the same zones for so long and you've been touring, sometimes you skip all the, things to do in the town just because you've been on the road and you're just kind of waiting for the show more or less than exploring. And we've talked about just making a point to really explore again and enjoy the aspects and all the little things of every town that we've missed, because that you really do. You don't think about it, but you take it for granted when you continually plug along and keep playing in all these places, and then when it's gone, you're like, ooh, I want it back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's great. You've been thoughtful about that and how you want to kind of embrace some of those experiences that maybe you do something a long time. I could see it kind of wanting to reinvigorate that passion for exploring and touring, because you're getting to go all over the world, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're excited. Honestly, we have a 32 city tour, and I think what's going to be awesome is that the first week you're really going to be kind of like, whoo, this is really done like a 4-show stretch, and like just the energy that people are going to be coming out in droves. Like we've done like 7 to 10 shows since they started kind of opening things more, and every show has been like 10 to 25,000 going absolutely bonkers, and that's the kind of energy I can't wait for. It's like the best drug on the planet. There really isn't anything like it. The feeling you get when the crowd is just going bonkers, and when they're engaged in the music, there's nothing that can really compare to that.
I can't imagine. That sounds amazing, though. I'm sure you missed it.
Oh yeah. I'm ready.
Yeah. So this year you dropped a fresh single with Be Real and Gene. What inspired that collaboration?
Well, just being fans of those guys for so long and friends. We've known G Love for 20 years, and same with Cypress Hill, Be Real, Sen Dog, all those guys. We've done so many shows together, and Cypress Hill was such a big influence of ours growing up. You know what I mean? Just in the 90s, late 90s, they were just a huge hip hop act that you really can't grow up in that time era without knowing, you know what I mean? And being able to share the stage with them, and they went on the tour with us where we had a Legalize It tour. And then we played with them all over the world, whether it was down in South America or over in Europe, and we just run into each other. And I think it's like the perfect kind of blend. And we're actually working on another track with Cypress Hill and Charlie Tuna, and that's going to be coming out soon as well. So I think for us, just trying to always continue to make music. And when you're out there with your friends, it just makes it that much better. The experience is so much more fun and rewarding, and you love to see all your boys doing well and continuing to do what we love.
What makes a successful musical collaboration? Because you've had some incredible collabs. I
think basically when the story kind of, it's not hard to tell the story, because, when you're making a collaboration, everything kind of intertwines. Like the message of the song is what matters. And I feel like each time we've done something, it's almost blended like we were always together in some sort of, whether it was the band or just a collaboration point. Like it feels like it's not forced. It always feels like it's like a natural blend together, and that's what makes them special, I think. I think when you try to force those kind of things, it doesn't carry the same weight. And when it just kind of comes organically, it really does have a push to be something greater.
Well, I think it's awesome that, much like Cypress Hills, Slightly Stoopid has always been an advocate for the plant. You've been singing about cannabis for a long time. What do you think has changed the most about like cannabis culture since you kind of started singing about it in the 90s?
Well, I mean, obviously it's so open and free now, as far as, it's weird because you kind of pride yourself on the way you grew up smoking weed and where you got it from, like all the local growers and things. And it's nice that it's legalized and all that stuff, but there's also kind of there's dispensaries on every corner. And in all honesty, most of the stuff at dispensaries is crap, in my opinion, because it's meant to serve the masses. And when you have like a private grower, they love that plant. Like he's not necessarily growing 50 pounds. He's going to grow like 6 ounces of the dank, that'll just make your eye cry when you smoke it. And it'll take you to a different planet when you're being creative. That's what I loved about that era. And I still go to my local grower. I don't really go to dispensaries unless I'm like really in a bind. All of a sudden everyone's out and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like, you can go down. But yeah, there's this place down here in San Diego. One of our boys owns the Golden State Green. So if I get light, I'll just go there. But for the most part, we have our buddy here, Sean Cron, who honestly grows some of the best weed on the planet. And then we use Humboldt Seed Company, which makes incredible. We have the Collie Kush and the Stoopid. It's the seeds that are just phenomenal. Everyone that's grown it has grown some incredible herbs, and they bring them to the show when they grow, so they can kind of show us, their version of our product. And for us, it's like we never really support stuff that we wouldn't use ourselves. You know what I mean? We're not really that kind of pusher. Like, I'm not even that advocate where I can go online every day and be like, hey, do this, do that. Like, we kind of just, let our shit do the talking for us. Just like, you know what I mean? We don't really love to, necessarily push our stuff like that. But at the same time, we always expect high quality, and being able to use those kind of guys to me is the best. And definitely be looking for a new strain from Sean Cron for Stoopid, and then some more from Humboldt Seed Company, just because it's been amazing. We did this collaboration with Hammerheads, and they made a Stoopid Head Hammerhead, which is absolute fire. It's one of the best pre-rolls I've ever tasted. It's hitting all kinds of numbers on the spectrum, and honestly, it when you smoke it, you're like, whoa, like you could almost take like a knee down, like, ooh, like the dab prayer. You know what I mean? Like, man. So it's been great, honestly. I mean, we'll always continue to support. Like I said, I've definitely preferred when it was more under the radar. It's always kind of weird now. Like, you just walk down the street in your neighborhood and everybody's like smoking a joint, like you're at the beach and wheat. And it's just, I don't know if I necessarily love it always in every aspect of life. You know what I mean? Like, I love that people love that it's, legal and you can get it, but there's also kind of a boundary that has to be somewhat set. Like, 'cause I think, everywhere you go, it's just like, if people have kids, there's just, everyone's blowing weed smoke everywhere. Everyone's doing it. You're just like, whoa. Can we go back to where you kind of had to go around the corner and be like, and come back? It's like,
Exactly,
so, I mean,
right?
It's definitely a trip, especially growing from the time era that we came from. As obviously weed was considered like this freaking basically worst drug in the world kind of stuff. What they do to people that grow it. So many people are incarcerated for the stupidest shit.
Yeah.
And that's another one of those big business things that unfortunately the government has its hands on, where people in jail, so they use weed as a kind of their gateway to get them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of silly to me. You could probably, I don't even know, there's millions of people in jail for that, where you're like, are you serious? We're wasting like almost $100,000 a year in taxpayer money because this guy got busted with a pound.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
So that kind of thinking needs to go away in general. And as a society, we've come so far. If they were smart, they would utilize it for so much more than they do. I think just because when you have a world really run by a drug association, and they don't really understand how all the values of what you get from THC and what you get from the CBDs and all those different things, they don't want you to know that it works to cure certain things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's too easy. There's nothing. They want to be able to package their little pill and saying, hey, you need to take this instead.
Yeah, for $1,000 a pop.
Yeah, and it's really silly. I think once we get past that, which I'm not sure we can as a society, just because we're when you're in the billions worldwide, it's so hard to sit there and say that stuff. It sounds great, like it's almost like a fantasy land kind of feel, but until we get there, that's really going to be the biggest hurdle. The FDA is basically the thorn in the world, and there's so many cancer patients that the CBDs have saved them. As far as just how they feel inside. My dad's a perfect example. He had stage 4 cancer, and he was doing all this stuff that the hospitals wanted to do. And then he just started pumping with CBDs like crazy. And his last cancer check, the doctor literally was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but your cancer is literally decimating in your body. And it literally, he has no answer or anything for it. He was like, holy shit. He's like, just go live your life, dude. Like, but literally, and he was taking all this, you know, medicine for cancer. And then it was the CBD shit that brought his levels down. And
Wow.
It was just incredible. Literally, the doctor was like, what are you taking, Ken? And he's just like, I'm taking this. And he's like, don't stop. You know,
Oh,
like,
that's wonderful, man. That's
yeah.
wonderful.
So, and that's something that it's real. And if they don't want that to be out, you know. And you know, one of my homies, a ex NFL player, Kyle Turley. If you follow him on Instagram, he talks all about it, just because he's tired of it too. He's seen so many of his friends, you know, with the CTE and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he said all this stuff about his line of CBDs and all these things that cure it. And it's just something that just needs to be fuck the science part. Let's get with reality. You know what I mean? What's working and what's not. And my dad's living proof that it does work. So it's pretty incredible.
That's awesome. And I think Stoopid Organics, some of your proceeds go to cancer research and the Last Prisoner Project, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's excellent.
It's important. And I think the more we keep fighting for that kind of stuff, the better it's going to be for everybody in the long run. So that's all we can do is keep fighting the fight.
Yeah. I appreciate those two sides that you touched on. Like, you know, got people smoking at kids' birthday parties, and sometimes it's like, whoa. But in other ways, you're also getting more people access to this powerful medicinal herb. And we're also getting to do a bit more research into it. And I hope that if that research isn't stolen by all of these private companies and pharmaceuticals to kind of hush it down, hopefully that information can get out and be used to make more powerful products for people.
Well, what's good, it's getting harder for them to hide what they do. You know what I mean? The bad guys are getting harder. For them, it's harder to hide because everyone has access to everything. You know what I mean? So it's only going to get easier in the long run the more we keep pushing towards that. And it's going to get harder for them. They always try to push it down and act like it doesn't exist. But it's there and it's coming. So it's like a wave.
I love that. And kind of I guess a shift, but there's been a lot of advances in cannabis technology, like, you know, from manufacturing and all of these commercial ways, but also just for consumer tech. People can smoke in all these weird ways. We've got like vaporizers and laser powered bongs and a lot of cool stuff that's coming out. Has your method of ingestion changed much over the years, or do you have a preferred way to get it in you?
In all honesty, I've always preferred like clean glass. Like a good bong load to me is better than anything.
Yeah.
But what was funny is Be Real gave me this gravity bong that they use, the Dr. Green Thumb one, and we cracked it up yesterday, or opened it up yesterday, and it's like you just spin this thing. It's like a cylinder full of water on both sides, and you just spin it, and it's sucking all the smoke through. Mm-hmm. And it was insane. I'd never really. You did the old. You stuck the like Coca-Cola bottle in the sink, yes. And, but now they have it all clean and. But for me, overall, I'd rather do a crisp bong load of some nice clean water. But if not, I'll just crush one of the stupid head hammerheads.
Yeah, nice. I like that. You touched earlier on, you know, some of those like carefully crafted, curated strains from your buddies. They were powerful for creativity. Do you find that it still plays a role in your kind of creative process?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always kind of written music like that. So I think I don't ever just go, hey, I need to go write this. You know what I mean? You have to have like a feeling, like something, you have to get that creative juice inside in general. Like sometimes just it'll be there and sometimes it won't. And we've always kind of partaken. So in the writing process, you know, you'll blaze till you're ready to pick up the guitar and you know, see what comes out. A lot of times it could be a melody in your head. It could be something off the music. If you hear the music before you hear the words, it can be written a million ways. What's good now is with technology, with these phones, is they have that little voice memo app on the iPhone that if you ever have an idea, you just hit that and just hum it in there. So you don't forget it. 'Cause that's the biggest thing. A lot of times you'll have ideas and they kind of go in and out, you know, because your mind's kind of going all over the place in the creative process. So that is like a huge savior. And then also when we rehearse, we actually just hit record at the beginning of rehearsal and it gets the entire 6 hours of rehearsal. So whatever you're talking about, whatever you're playing, everything's recorded. And if you know you did something, you can just go back and go, hey, I think we did something dope there. Can we go back and check? And then it could turn into something great after that, you know, and that's the beautiful thing about the technology that we're using right now, is those abilities to kind of freeze those moments in time and go, okay, we did get that. You know, that was dope. Let's figure out how to make it even better.
So. I love that. It's like Jack Kerouac talked about for writing, like stream of consciousness. You got to get it all on the paper and then you can pick what's good, you know?
Yeah, honestly, we were talking about this the other day at the studio. For me to remember, I have to write it out. I can't just read it. You know what I mean? I have to, I can print it, but after I print it, I physically have to write it out for me to actually remember it.
Yeah.
It's a weird step for me, but that's part of the process. Like anytime I'm writing stuff, if I just continue to write it out, it just gets imprinted in the brain.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I took notes in college. Everyone would be typing and I was like, so
yeah.
I remember it.
Yeah, it's so much easier to remember when you actually physically, your hands engaged in the process.
Right. Well, so you know, what's next for Slightly Stoopid? What's have you got new projects in the works you're excited about, or?
Yeah, so we're working on the new album right now. Obviously, we leave next Tuesday for summer tour with Pepper, Common Kings, Fortunate Youth, the Elevators. It's going to be insane. 32 cities. It goes all the way till the September 3rd. We end in San Diego at Petco Park. And then pretty much just finish the record in the fall and get it out for 23. We've got a few singles kind of lined up. We're just in the finishing process right now and just working on more collaborations. And at this stage in our career, it's about keeping everything as fun as we can and just get back to business again of being on the road and like getting that whole mindset. It is gonna, like I told you, that first week, everyone's gonna be like, whoo, just not used to, you know, being out there like that. You know, we've only done 1 to 2 shows max in a week since coming back to playing music again. And so that's going to be great in our tour legs back and you know, getting that once we hit the road, we collaborate with all those bands that are on the tour. So every night there's going to be some sort of, whether it's a huge brodeo at the end or individual songs per band. It's going to be awesome. That's the best part of touring, is when you're doing those kind of hangouts and situations where, you know, some ending songs, there'll be like 18 people on stage playing the song just because all the bands are involved in it. So it's really cool. That's the special part. And it's special for the fans too, because they don't really get to see that. And that's how we end the nights, you know what I mean? And it leaves them going like, oh shit, you know, we want them thinking it's the best party of the year. And that's how we always kind of leave those kind of shows.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. I hope I get to make, I know you're going to Albuquerque. I'm going to try to make it up there for that one.
Oh, sweet. It's beautiful out in New Mexico.
Yeah, it's a trip. It's like Colorado's weird cousin, you know. I feel like it's kind of close, but kind of strange, you know.
Yeah, it is different. We used to tour out there back in the day in the vans, and this is when you basically had enough money to get, you know, food, gas, maybe a $20 hotel room. Yeah. And that's what were back then. Like you'd find these little like $29.95 total shady hotel, you know, not even wanting to lay on the floor. So gross, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been to a few of
those spots. We used to play like the Sunshine Theater out there in Albuquerque and stuff. So it'll be good to get back out that way.
Good. Well, before I let you go, do you have any parting thoughts? Anything maybe we didn't touch on you want to share with our audience?
I think we covered most of it. I think just for me was out there and kick some ass this summer and everybody get together and have a great time. I think with so many bands touring this summer, it's really going to fill everyone up with the mental that they need. Like I told you earlier, music is kind of the healer of the soul. And I think with all these bands touring again, there's gonna be a lot of happy people in the country and around the world in general. So that was a funny thing to take away from people. When it never made much sense to me, just because of what it does for the mind. So I'm glad to be back at it, and I hope people have enjoy what's going to go down and just have a great summer.
You're going to bring a lot of healing out there this summer, so I'm excited for you. Thank you.
It's good. Yeah, we're ecstatic about there, and just words can't even describe really how it's going to be fun to share, because once we get on the stage, it's kind of, you look over and it's like the greatest feeling. So I can't wait.
Awesome. Well, it was such a pleasure talking with you, Miles.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Have a good day.
If you'd like to learn more about emerging cannabis technologies, be sure to like this podcast and subscribe to Cannabis Tech Talks. You can pick up the most recent issue of Cannabis and Tech Today on Barnes & Noble newsstands across the country, or grab a copy for free on cannatechtoday.com. This podcast is produced in part by Pretty Easy Podcasts. Visit prettyeasypodcasts.com if you're looking for professional production quality at an affordable rate. Until next time, stay elevated.
Hey, hello, I'm Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong. Wait, you didn't think people would know who I am? Durachill. This is Durachill. This is Durachill. This is Durachill. No, I don't talk like that. You want me to sell this? Buy it. Try Durachill or else. If you want something really nice in your laboratory, buy Durachill. You can't go wrong.
This show was produced by Cannabis Tech Today and Pretty Easy Podcasts. Go to prettyeasypodcast.com now if you're looking to get professional production help on your own podcast at an affordable rate. Pretty Easy Podcasts, making podcasting pretty easy.